What's going on, guys? It's your host, your boy, George Mackay, and I'm back here with another one. That's right. Please help me welcome a very young, up-and-coming talent. Somebody you may know as the Blue Gremlin, or maybe, possibly maybe, you know her as Space Jesus. Either way, please help me welcome Billie Starkz to Straight Talk Wrestling. How are you, my dear?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm about to sit down and talk with you about all things that you and I both love, which is wrestling, hence the name of the podcast, Straight Talk Wrestling. Actually, before we went on air, we were talking about this, and it was kind of funny that you had mentioned you had a situation where you called a move, you took a face palm into like a turnbuckle, and somebody was kind of poking fun at you, but yet you've had your other friends actually get concussions or more serious injuries than in wrestling. So let's talk about that right off the hop.
I understand that wrestling is dangerous, but I've been taught to protect myself and take care of my body. Same as other sports. I used to be a cheerleader, and I talked about uh I'd be physically exhausted after cheerleading practice, or I would do stunts with girls and they kick me in the head and it was accidents. Stuff happens. But my friend the other day, he was at baseball and he got a concussion because he got a baseball right to the head. And it's just mistakes like that. People think because wrestling, they label wrestling as dangerous for kids. Well, any sport's dangerous for a kid at any level, and I feel like that's not seen enough. So I get judged a lot because of what I choose to do in the ring and me and my opponent. And I feel like it shouldn't. If you're not going to judge another grown adult doing this, you shouldn't judge me. At the same time, we're doing the exact same work. I'm a wrestler, they are a wrestler, and it shouldn't be seen as different. I don't know if it's seen different because I am younger. I'm seen different because I'm a female. I don't know. I just feel like at the end of the day, we're all workers, we're all wrestlers, and there should be no difference.
Well said. I couldn't have put it any better words myself. And age is just a number. And if you want to search her age, look it up on the internet. But the fact is that she's a talent. And she's a talent that I've had my eye on for a little bit. Here in Canada, there's not a whole lot going on. We are on a serious lockdown. Gray zone, red zone, yellow zone. There's so many zone colors. I don't know what's happening. Whereas where you are in the States, there's a lot more freedom, if you will. There's a lot more off the mask, if you will. Certain areas like Texas, completely mask free. No cases.
Yeah, that was very shocking to me. The funny thing is, I think the week or two before they announced that, I was in Texas wrestling, and I was like, oh, this is interesting.
COVID has definitely made things challenging, but you got to take your spots where you can, and you got to work where you can. But you weren't always a wrestler. You were actually a photographer for a little bit as well. I saw a post on your Instagram a couple weeks ago. You posted some really good candid shots of photography of wrestlers. So I got to ask this, was that where the wrestling bug came from, or was the photography a way to work into trying to get out in front of the curtain as opposed to being behind the curtain?
Photography was honestly my way into just making connections with people.
Mhm.
In my head, I always wanted to be a wrestler, but I didn't think I could do it so young. So this is my way of getting to know people and getting advice from others already in the business, so I would be well informed when I did start. And I feel like that's what has helped with my uh learning path in wrestling. People talk about it a lot, how I improved so quickly, and I think it's more because of the advice that I got so early on, that it would just oh, this makes sense now that I got in the ring. Oh, this makes sense now. Oh. And I feel like that came from the photography. But when I first decided, oh, I want to be a wrestler, it was because my stepfather, who's Mouse Wrestling Adventures, he's a photographer, introduced me into wrestling, and I was like, oh, this is it. This is what I want to do. I was always not sure completely of what I want to do with my life. And then I saw this and I was like, yeah, that's it. That's what I want to do.
That's a great story. That's awesome. I love that. I love the fact that right away I'm 36 and I'm still trying to figure shit out. But you had a plan, you knew what was going to happen, and you executed it. So talk to me about training. I mean, you started training 2018, roughly 3 years ago. And
Yeah.
you also had your debut in and around 2018, and you trained at Grindhouse Pro Wrestling Academy. Am I right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. How was training, and who trained you? And I always ask this question because I love this question because I've never taken one. How was the first bump?
People always act like it's so scary, and I honestly feel like they worked me up to it really well. I started taking my first bump on a burrow, which is just a person on all fours, and you sit on their back and fall back. And like people get so tense. Like I think I was more excited, so I was just like, cool, bing, and just threw myself. The only thing though is like on my first few bumps, I'm one of those ones that I would like forget to tuck, and I would just bop my head. But then they would like make me hold a penny with my chin, so I remembered to hold it the entire time. Cause like I would hold it and then start falling back and just go ah. But my training experience was very, very like opening. My trainers were great with me. My trainer is actually my personal trainer at the gym now. He's no longer teaching wrestling, but I still go work out with him. But his name's Aaron Lamada. He's helped me out so much with wrestling. He taught me the basics, helped me do all that. The school's ran by Too Tough Tony. But I feel like my first day of training, the funny thing is I originally was supposed to just go and watch because this is decided whether or not I want to do it. Because like in my head, I was like, I still don't know if it's too early. Is this going to be the proper training that I need? Because like in my head, my game plan was finish school, find a training school near a college so I can find a scholarship, go there, then start my wrestling career. That was my goal. But then stuff just happened early, fell into my lap, and I was like, oh, this is it. But I was offered to go to a class, and I was like, cool, I'll show up. So I had cheerleading practice before. I come in already sweaty with my cheerleading shoes on. I sat down and started watching, and Rudy Switchblade was in the ring, who is my other trainer, was like, oh, come on, hop in. And I was like, cool. Started rolling around. He showed me a few things, and then my dad looks at my mom, was like, "Yep, she's never getting out of there. You see the smile on her face." And I was sold. Like I didn't want to leave the rings ever since then.
Well, and you've been killing it. You've been tearing it up. I mean, you've had some incredible matches. Shotzi Blackheart, 2019, and you won that match. And I caught clips of that on the internet, and that was a fantastic. That was a fucking barn burner. Excuse my language, but that one, I watched that match, the highlights that I could find, and it was incredible. Another great match I liked is the one with Jordan Grace. That one didn't go too well for you, but I mean, let's be honest, Jordan Grace is a beast in the ring, so I don't really see her lose too often, so don't feel bad about that one. But the match also against Su Yung was incredible, and you got the win on that one. It's hard to pin somebody who's dead, but you found a way to do it, so good for you. And Marty Bell at SLA was another great match. You had a great 2019, and you mentioned advice early on, but I mean, being in the ring with all these fantastic women and being trailblazers in their own right, and being kind of in the thick of not so much the evolution. Evolution is long past. Revolution is long past. Now we are literally just leveling up. Women in this business are second to none. I'm a proud advocate of women's wrestling. I'm also a proud girl dad. I got two daughters. One of them's 11. She's the mini host, does little interviews with wrestlers on the YouTube page. And the other one's my 4-year-old. She's completely crazy, and she has the best arm bar in the business. And I shit you not, I've taught her very well. She's almost made me tap out a little bit, Billy. She's only 4, going on 5. So, watch out. She's coming. She's on her way. She'll be coming to challenge you very soon. But the advice you got early on, and being in the ring with some of these amazing women so early on, it's got to be a little bit overwhelming, right? Consider also being a fan. I mean, we're all fans. Even wrestlers, when they start out this, they're fans first. So how was those experiences?
I think for me, like I've talked about this a little bit, that I've never really truly got nervous before matches. I've always gotten excited. Um, and I think it was because of like my cheerleading background. Cheerleading like burn out my nerves. Like you had no like worries about performing anymore. Like nothing could go wrong. And I feel like wrestling, when it comes to that, it's more like, okay, it's showtime. Let's go, guys. And I just get excited by this point. But wrestling all these women, and like how you talked about how I got this advice early on, I feel like it's helped me so much as a wrestler grow. Because all these women that you just named are great, great, great role models to look after. And me as a up and comer, I have all of these great women that I can follow after. But someday I hope to beat them all.
Well, like I said, 2 out of 4 ain't bad. Now we just got to work on Jordan Grace and Marty Bell, and we'll be all right. But 2 out of 4 ain't bad. And those 2 wins, like I said, guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the match with Shotzi Blackheart. There are highlights on YouTube, and it is fantastic. And that's actually where I caught you. I went down the YouTube rabbit hole. Have you ever been down that? It's scary. It's a scary, scary rabbit hole when you get caught up in something. I think it was 3 hours in. 3 hours in on YouTube. I was just going match after match. And I came across the highlights from that one, and my jaw hit the floor. And I'm like, "Who is?"
I actually got to wrestle her twice. Do you know which what show it was at?
It was at Girl Fight in.
Okay.
Yeah, it was at Girl Fight. That's what the
Then.
little blip said was Girl Fight.
It was either Girl Fight or a promotion in Alabama for New Level. New Level was the first time I wrestled her, and Girl Fight was the second, if I remember correctly.
And Girl Fight was the one I watched. I did not see the one in Alabama, but Girl Fight, I love that match from bell to bell. I love the story, and that's what a lot of people forget. They forget wrestling is a story. I actually call it a dance. It's two people in the ring telling a story without any words. Yeah, there's shit talking here and there. When you got somebody in the corner, you kind of lay into him. Yeah, screw you, Shotzi, and you give her a kick right in the face. But other than that, it's literally no words, and you tell this amazing story until it's over. And I gotta say, for somebody yourself, a young up and comer, you carry yourself very well. You're somebody that I would be honored to show. I actually have showed a couple matches to my daughters. They both think you're super awesome. So you got 2 fans here in Canada. So when the borders open and you can start getting booked over here, you let us know, because we're going to come scream our heads off for you. But how is that? How is that when you wrestle in front of little girls and you see the same excitement that was on your face? That's got to be awesome for you, right?
It's such like a strange feeling to know that you were in that spot once and you can make people feel the joy, but it's so nice at the same time because you're like, oh, I'm making someone feel the way I did back then.
And that's got to be the coolest thing ever, right? I mean, when a little girl comes up to you, you must have gotten gifts at shows. You must have somebody drew a picture for you, something. That's got to be like amazing.
Yeah, I actually have like there's like this bucket in my closet because I refuse to throw away any of my fan art because I think it's so adorable. So it all goes into this bucket in my closet because my mom's like, you have too much. You're not putting it out. Because I used to have it on my bulletin board and it was just too much going on. She's like, you gotta figure something out. And I'm also one of those people like I don't keep track of like how many matches I have. Like some people like type out their matches and like all of that and like keep track. I keep track of like how many times I've been handed money and like envelopes. So I'll keep all the envelopes too. And my mom's like, you don't even know what show this is from. And I was like, it means something to me.
But that's a piece of history. When they do the Billie Starkz exhibit in the Hall of Fame, you'll have all those envelopes plastered all over the wall. It'll be awesome. It'll be absolutely incredible. How was it getting your first check from wrestling? Like getting your first paid wrestling gig? Do you still have that money? You have that framed somewhere?
I don't think so. So like it took me a minute before I was like, I think it also took me a minute before like I started to worry about money in wrestling because I was more worried about wrestling. Like I wanted to be in the ring and had fun. And like my first match was at my training school. I didn't expect to get paid. I didn't. And like they're giving me opportunity to wrestle. So I shouldn't be worried about that. This is my first match is in. I'm not gonna be good. uh the funny thing is in my first match I actually got hurt. I jumped off the top rope and I sprained my ankle and I still finished the match. I ended up like doing a whole run on my ankle into a handstand and then flipping a girl. uh yeah, that was very like interesting. And then I remember after the show uh I was walking around with like this walker that we had up in this office. And someone tried to help me. I said, I'm independent. Like, like I'm just being a jerk. And I was just emotional. But I remember like riding that adrenaline high after my first match. It was like, oh, this is so much fun.
Talk to me about cheerleading, because I know in the States, cheerleading is insane. And you've mentioned hard workouts. You've mentioned you probably did 2 a day, 3 a day practices, and some of the insane stuff you guys do. Like cheerleading is no joke. It's intense. We don't see here in Canada, we don't take sports as seriously as you guys. You guys are passionate as your sports. Here, we take three things seriously. Okay? That's hockey, drinking, and screaming at the television when the sports guy we want screws up. That's kind of what we do when it comes to sports. We're very passionate about hockey, obviously, but other sports here are just starting to get their legs underneath them. Soccer, basketball, football, but they don't have the program into development like you guys do there. We have cheerleading programs here as well, but they're not as intense as what you guys do over there. So, I mean, with cheerleading came the gymnastics background. So the transition to wrestling must have been pretty easy, right?
I think what came easy from like wrestling to or cheerleading to wrestling was like honestly the roles and stuff. But it also I had to break some habits. Like in cheerleading, you're always supposed to have these really sharp motions, and wrestling, you're allowed to be sharp, but you also have to be relaxed. And I just remember in cheerleading, my body the entire time I was always like locked out. But it's sometimes like dangerous to lock out some of your body parts because if someone like, oh, picks your leg, you're supposed to fall back, but if you lock out your leg, that can hurt your knee. And I'm like, my body's so stiff. And it was like one of those habits I had to break over time. I still get told that sometimes I need to relax, and I feel like it's because my adrenaline starts to kick in, and then my bad habits kick in of like the oh.
Yeah, I could see that. Bad habits are hard to break, and when you're going transitioning from one sport to another, it's got to be overwhelming. But the strides you've made and the advice that you've had is incredible. And if there's a young fan that's watching that is kind of looking to follow the same path, I want to get into wrestling. I love it so much. I want to train. I want to do that stuff. What's the advice? I mean, you're only 3 years in yourself, so growing and evolving. We keep learning constantly. From the first moment we take our first breath to the moment we take our last breath, we're always learning. That's how we evolve and grow as people, individuals, and as a society as a whole. So, if there's a young fan watching, what would be the one piece of advice you'd want to give them right off the bat?
Honestly, just be a good person. That will take you so far in life. And I know as cheesy as it sounds, but like uh being a good person just makes other people feel better and it'll make you a way better one. And if you want to make it anywhere in life, you just have to be a good person because anybody will be willing to help you.
That's some great advice. I think that's great advice in the world. It took me a long time to learn that. You're ahead of your years. You're a wise old soul. I have to say that. Talk
I
to me
like
about.
my ramen and soup. I get told that I'm old all the time because I love cranberry juice. Shotzi, the mania that we were in New York and New Jersey, we stayed in like the same Airbnb. We had like different floors. I was on the floor above her, and I came down at one point. I'm drinking cranberry juice, and she's looking at me like, "What's going on?" She was like, "You have a UTI?" And I was like, "No, I just like cranberry juice. What do you mean? What's that?" I'm just like sitting there like, huh?
That is an amazing story. That is definitely, I'm going to use that for promo for the episode for sure. Oh, the story of cranberry juice. What? Talk to me about Pizza Cat. Pizza Cat
Oh,
Junior.
the legend of Pizza Cat Junior.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
Pizza Cat Junior is one of my alter egos. Very lucha based. It was given to me by Pizza Cat Senior, aka Shotzi Blackheart. It debuted on Bizarro Lucha, and the last time I wrestled as Pizza Cat was for a girl fight show back in October, I believe.
So you've hung up Pizza Cat completely. Pizza Cat is no
Not completely, it just hasn't been around yet.
Okay. So does Pizza Cat come out when Billie feels like her back's against the wall? Like you got to go extra with it? Is that when Pizza Cat comes out to play?
I think Pizza Cat honestly just comes out to play whenever there's pizza. Like if you say, "Oh, there's pizza here," Cat is coming. That's all you gotta say. Pizza, say less.
So in terms of pizza, I mean, what's your go-to toppings? Are you classic,
Oh,
just a straight pepperoni girl, or you like to switch it up a little bit?
we're like a meat lovers. I also love potato pizza,
Okay.
which is what I was introduced to at Anarchy. And I just fell in love. I was like, "Oh, potato pizza." My personal trainer hates me because of my eating habits. Like I love Taco Bell. Oh, I'm the worst. he'll look at me, what you eat today? I was like, after the show, I went to Waffle House, had the hash browns and like smothered. He's like, okay, 2 extra laps, get it going.
Yeah, yeah, and that's punishment. It's only fair. It's only fair. Okay, I get it. You've got the metabolism, amazing metabolism. But okay, I'm gaining weight just listening to how you eat. I
He got
can't do
so
that.
bad. I told him before I left, I was like, oh, the Fiesta potatoes are back at Taco Bell. You know what I'm doing tonight.
To Billy's personal trainer, thank you for being so patient. So patient for putting up with all this. So what about, okay, the age-old question right now, just a yes or no answer. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
It's a no for me. I actually, I think it's because of how I enjoy pineapple. I enjoy pineapple as cold.
Okay, right.
So like when it's on pizza, it bothers me. Like it just like pineapple shouldn't be warm. That's like how my mind thinks about it. But because I like kiwi on pizza, I tried kiwi on pizza and I really enjoyed it for some reason. Commando Man Dan was doing his whole like thing and he cooked kiwi on pizza. And I was like, oh, I'll try a slice. It was not bad.
I'll have to take your word on that. I don't know if I could do kiwi on pizza. I do enjoy pineapple on pizza, but I also enjoy like they have this Colombian barbecue place in and around my house, in and around my area, where you literally flip up this card and they just keep feeding you different kinds of meat and marinated different and grilled different. But the dessert is pineapple roasted with cinnamon. And let me tell you, pineapple, it doesn't sound like it would work, but it works. Billy, it works. I tell you, it works.
Pineapple can't be warm. No, it's like ice cream being warm. No.
Well, at least you're a little bit nicer than Slice Boogie. When I interviewed Slice Boogie, and I told him, I said, Hawaiian pizza is kind of my go-to. Because he's from Queens, New York. He's like, are you serious? Like, that's the worst thing ever. Like, you don't do that. Like, you go classic.
See, my mom's a Hawaiian lover. And then my brother also loves bell peppers on his pizza. And I'm like, y'all doing too much for me.
Bell peppers is okay. Listen, there's a combination. My wife is full-blown Italian. So there's a combination that she treated me with. I don't know if you know this stuff, but prosciutto, it's a type of Italian meat. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then roasted red peppers. So red peppers, but I don't know how they do it, but with the olive oil and all that stuff, they roast it, put it on top. And then bocconcini cheese, which is like a soft mozzarella. And that combination, Billy, that combination works. So next time, you should probably write that down somewhere. Next time, you got to try that. You got to try that, okay? And I guarantee you, Pizza Cat will come out. Pizza Cat will come out and do a lap around the block.
Runs around the block.
Yeah, that's it. She'll just be so excited.
That's Pizza Cat's squash match. Whoever they run into, I think they're done for.
That's it. I love it. In terms of your nicknames, your other nicknames, Blue Gremlin, Space Jesus, where did these names come from?
It's a little all over the place.
Okay.
Some of them are jokes. Some of them are just like what my friends call me. I get called the Blue Gremlin because of my blue hair, obviously. And I act like a gremlin sometimes. I'm very, very like sometimes. Space Jesus is like this little inside joke that came about because this guy, who was a very interesting character himself, was a street fighter and has a tattoo of alien Jesus tattooed across his chest, walking across water. And we nicknamed him Space Jesus, but then he's a whole mess. So a ring announcer like came into our locker room and was like, who wants to be announced as Space Jesus? All of us knowing the joke. And I looked at him and said, and by that time I forgot I even said something, and I went out to the ring and he says it and I go, I'm keeping it. This is a vibe.
What do your friends think about you wrestling? Do they dig it?
Like when I first started wrestling, I started very early. I lost a lot of people close to me because I wasn't there anymore. Like I was traveling, I wasn't home, I couldn't hang out. But a lot of my friends understood. Like one of my friends is a dancer, so when competition season comes, we never see her. she's like, I have to go. But we still talk on the phone, and I'm like, what are you up to? And she's like, fill me in on everything. And I'm like, good. Um, but yeah, like I still try to have a friend base outside of wrestling because I do feel like wrestling is very like wishy-washy sometimes.
Mhm.
Like everybody has to worry about themselves. And like I understand that. Like I have to worry about my career, you have to worry about yours. We'll see each other when we see each other, but it's always nice when you run into those people you haven't seen in a while at shows and been like, "Hey, how are you been?" I feel like wrestling honestly could be like such a welcoming community. My buddy wants attention so bad and just keeps jumping out of their little house. I love him.
I was wondering what
He's
you
like,
were looking at. I'm like, huh, she's doing one of these. Maybe she's not interested. Maybe I sucked at my job. I don't know.
no, my buddy wants to run around and wants attention. At one point, they were chewing on my shoelaces, and I'm like, "Leave me alone."
It seems like you have such a great outlook on everything. You're very positive. I get maybe you're sometimes gremlin. Thankfully, I caught you on a good day. It seems like I guess I just caught you because you just
He
ate.
let me eat before the podcast, and I was like, "Cool, cool, I'm ready now."
Absolutely. I would, and I totally would. If you had said to me, if you had messaged me and said, listen, I need 15 minutes, I got to eat. Hey, it's all good. I get it. I completely understand. No problem. But that obviously comes with the good outlook, comes with, the great family support that you have, the great friends outside of wrestling that you have and stuff like that. But with all the amazing people that you've faced and all the stuff that you've accomplished very early on, uh, pressure's on because you've got to keep having these level up moments. And I stole this saying from a wrestler here in Canada, Holden Albright. I always shout him out when I say I stole it, but he called these moments level up. So when you reach that glass ceiling and you got to find a way to punch through, or you level up in like a video game. You've had so much early success very early on in your career, and you're only going to get better. And like I said, you're fantastic at what you do, and your presence in the ring is great. And you never smile, but I got to ask, or you never stop smiling. But I got to ask this question: heel or face? When you have to play the darker character, do you enjoy that, or are you straight bubblegum with it?
Almost cocky when I'm a heel. The same as if I'm a baby face. The baby face is more like I'm here for the fans. I'm having fun for you guys. And when I'm a heel, it's I'm having fun for myself, and it makes people want to hate me. But very often, most of the time, I am playing babyface because that's what people see me as, and I'm like I'm here to make other people. But if I need to, I can turn that switch and take it right back.
Well, and that's impressive skills to learn early on. I mean, alter egos, you know how to play the crowd. Uh, I feel like you've been in this business for 30 years. Like you just the knowledge is ridiculous, and your ring psychology and IQ is fantastic. So, I guess one of my only few questions left is, what's next for Billie Starkz? Like, where do we go from here? Are we working on any more in-ring work that we're adding to our repertoire? Are we working on maybe another alter ego, another nickname? I don't know. I mean, the world's your oyster right now. Like I say, you're impressive as hell, and I enjoy watching you work. And I think that's a talent to you and who you are as a performer and as a person.
So currently I'm working on building up my strength for Mania, so and my endurance, so I'm prepared. And then I have been adding a few little tricks in my book of, oh, I think this would be cute or this or this. Oh, I feel like if this person goes through this, maybe this is a reversal I can hit. Just coming up with new ideas so I can pull out some stunts.
I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's great. And in terms of your training and how I mean, we know that your eating habits are not the best. You've said it on wax, your personal trainer hates you because your eating habits are all over the place. Um, is maybe that's something we're going to work on? Are we going to work on trying to make sure your personal trainer doesn't have to give you 3 extra laps every session?
No, I'm continuing with my bad eating habits. I'll just be honest here. I'll try, like I'll go for it, and then I'll get around, and there's just like I'll see some Taco Bell and it's over. It's so hard to eat good on the road too. I've seen people do it, and I'm like, bravo to you. Couldn't be me.
So is Taco Bell the go-to, or do you have any other favorite restaurants that you love?
I love Taco Bell, Chick-fil-A. I am a very bad influence when it comes to food. Kayla Cassidy goes and works out with me, and she will leave, and she's like, "Oh, we should head home." And I was like, "We should grab Five Guys on the way home." She looks at me, and she's like, Like she wants to do it, but she knows she shouldn't be.
But she could blame you. She could say it was your fault.
Yeah, she puts the heat on me, but then she'll post on Twitter and be like, dang, funnel fries sound real good right now. And I said, cool. And you try to put the blame on me.
Well, I mean, you've proven to be the catalyst. You've proven that in certain situations, you are the one that kind of leads the way with the bad eating habits. So really, it can always lead back to you. It's kind of like that fingerprinting in a murder case. It's always going to lead back to the prime suspect. And when it comes down to it, you would be the prime suspect. But I think we'll wrap it up just because of the technical difficulties. But this was an amazing conversation, and I appreciate the time you gave me today. We'll have to do it again when Zoom is on our side. But hopefully we can get this before we wrap up. You want to shout out your socials and let everybody know where they can follow you and your journey in the wonderful world of wrestling?
All of my social medias at Billie Starkz, Billie, and then Starkz is Starkz. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can follow me on all that. If you want to go check out my merch, it's linked in my Twitter bio, or you can go to bigstarkzbrand.com. And gang, bless up, guys.
Billie, thank you so much for the time. And I want to officially let you know now, you are a member of the Straight Talk family. Anytime you want to come back and actually do this again when technical difficulties are not killing us and internet signals don't suck, I would absolutely love to have you back on the show.
I would love to come back.
Awesome. Well, that's it for this one, guys. This has been an awesome conversation with my one to watch, Billie Starkz. So make sure you keep your eyes on her, because I tell you that this girl is going to catch fire and she's going to blow up. And you remember that you saw her on my show first. Well, not first, but I don't know, second or third. I'm in the top 5 anyways. So Billie, before you go, if internet prevails, all right. Before you go, if internet prevails, can you just look at the camera and sell them on who they're watching or who they're listening to? Give them a little Billie Starkz on Straight Talk Wrestling.
Hey guys, this is Billie Starkz, and you're listening to Straight Talk Wrestling.
I love it. It's fire. It's going in a trailer on my YouTube page. So thank you so much, Billie. You are an amazing person, and I can't wait to see what else you're going to do. I'm really, really excited for what the future holds for you, because I believe the sky is the limit when it comes to a talent like you. And a talent like you only comes along once in a while. So one day we're going to see your name in even brighter lights, and you're going to blow the roof off of a whole lot of places. And I can't wait to see it. Thank you so much. All right. You take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And we are going to talk very, very soon. Sounds good. I hope you have a great night. You too. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to tune in next week for another great episode on all available podcast platforms and hosted on Podbean. Also, check us out on YouTube at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Instagram at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Facebook at Straight Talk Wrestling, and on Twitter at _Straight Talk. And if you feel the need to buy some sweet merch, check us out on ProWrestlingTees.com.
Leaving the scene with no trace, not in my league. You out of place, I'm not at the top, I'm outer space. Can't eat with us, we're out of place. I'm doing fine, I'm feeling great. You're not my fan, you can't relate. Straight talk going state to state.